How to test your aquarium's water parameters, and how to start a fishless cycle using ammonia. So before you start dosing ammonia into your aquarium to start your fishless cycle, you're going to need to know how to test your parameters. This is going to require a testing kit. I suggest getting a liquid one rather than strips because they're not as accurate. I use what most people would suggest, API's Master Test Kit. You're going to need a test kit that tests for the most basic parameters such as ammonia, nitrites, and nitrates, as well as pH. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about with a fishless cycle or what the parameters are, I suggest you go back a couple videos on my account to the nitrogen cycle video. That will have it explained. So for example, the API test kit will come with this colorful range of test solutions. It will also come with 4 of these 5 milliliter testing tubes. These are easy to knock over, so I suggest getting a holder for them. It will also come with this legend to help you read the results. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fill up your 4 test tubes up to this 5 milliliter line. You want to get it pretty accurate. It can take some practice. I wish I could say that was first try. Now, each of these is going to require a good shake before you use them. However, the nitrates are even more important. These should be shaken for about a minute before you use them. I like to start with ammonia. So as you'll see, there's a bottle 1 and a bottle 2. Each of these bottles will have their instructions on them. As this one says, you add 8 drops of each. So once you've got your drops in, you're going to put the lid on and give it a little shake. I suggest using a paper towel because these lids don't have the best seal. Next is the nitrite solution. It's the same process, but it's 1 bottle with 5 drops. Then you're going to do the nitrate solutions. This is 2 bottles at 10 drops each, and make sure you give this a good shake. You can read the results of most of these tests immediately, however the nitrate one needs about 5 minutes to show its results accurately. Now when it comes to pH, you'll see 2 tests. These do not go together. You'll need to figure out where your pH sits, and that will tell you which test to use. So for example, the blue pH solution only tests for up to 7.6. For anything higher, you're going to need to use the high range pH, which tests from 7.4 to 8.8. So this means if you're using the blue solution and you get the highest result, you should use the red solution after because you're probably somewhere in here. It's just that's the highest it could show. So here's one example that you would see in the parameters of a cycled aquarium, going from left to right: ammonia, nitrites, nitrates, and pH. To clean them, I really just use hot water, give them a really good rinse, and then I set them upside down in this to dry. I wouldn't suggest using soap. If you do have to give them a good scrub out, I would use vinegar. So in order to grow a colony of nitrifying bacteria, you're going to need some ammonia. I suggest using an aquarium ammonia like Dr. Tim's. However, you can get other ammonias on the market. Just be sure to get something that is 100% ammonia. If you get something that is not meant for aquariums, there can be additives in there that you don't want. Now, once you have an ammonia source, you're going to have to figure out what dosage to use to get your tank size up to about 3 to 4 parts per million of ammonia. This could be a bit of an annoying process, so be ready for that. I suggest keeping a notebook of how many drops you're adding every day and what the parameters are sitting at so that you have something to compare with. So the dosage that Dr. Tim suggests is 4 drops per gallon to reach about 2 parts per million. Since we want to get about 4 parts per million, I would double this, but do keep in mind that you want to take it slower than faster because it's much easier to add more than to do a big water change and go back and forth. You don't really want anything under 3 because that won't support the bioload of an axolotl, and you don't want anything over 4 because that will stall your cycle. You're going to need to wait about an hour after dosing the ammonia before you test the parameters to see where it's sitting at, just to make sure that it's mixed around in the aquarium enough. Once you've gotten the ammonia up to the right number, write down in your notebook how many drops it took you to get to there. After about a day or 2, you can come back and test the parameters again. If the ammonia has started to lower at all, you can take the amount that it is lowered and decide on your next dose depending on that. So for example, let's say on Monday you dosed up to 4 parts per million of ammonia. Then on Wednesday, you test it again, and that has gone down to 2 parts per million. That means you could take the dose that you did on Monday and divide it by half for Wednesday's dose to bring it back up to 4 parts per million. Hopefully that helped you a bit on the math and science side. Next video, I'm going to be explaining how to do a water change.